All right, everybody, I'm back, and I'm reviewing the Odyssey. Time for the Odyssey. Much like Odysseus, I too have been on a journey lately. Just been figuring myself out and doing a lot of stuff, trying to figure out a work situation and everything like that, juggle life, work, stream balance type thing. And I think I got it. But as always, we're gonna do what I we're gonna start with a what I liked and didn't like, which I usually do for these reviews. But before we get into that, I do want to say that this film's been met with a lot of controversies, the majority of which are either nonsensical or riddled with flat-out bigotry, and therefore I don't think it's worth discussing discussing in depth here too much. I might end up doing a video reacting to and breaking down some of these grifter slop tuber reviews for the movie. I did see that I know at least Jester Bell's posted hers. I'm waiting to see if Griddle Drinker and Nerdrotic and Film Threat and all those other goobers post their reviews. But here in this review, I'm not getting into it because I don't think it's worth getting into here. I'm here to talk about this movie legitimately, what I liked and did not like, and if I think that it's worth watching or not. So let's get into this. All right, so we're going to start with what I did not like. So I like to start with the negative first, get it out of the way, and that way we can just gush about what we do like. And usually when a movie's good, we have more to talk about. We have more likes to discuss than we do dislikes, and I always prefer that, to be honest with you. One of the reasons I did not want to review Evil Dead Burn is because while I did like the movie, I had a lot of complaints, and that's probably because I'm a nitpicky little fanboy when it comes to Evil Dead. As you can see with these posters behind me, I'm a big Evil Dead fan. So anyway, I just didn't want to start with okay movie. I figured the Odyssey, most likely I'm going to dig it, so I wanted to start things back on a more positive note. The last movie I reviewed was Hokum, did official video review anyway of, and I didn't vibe with Hokum, but I'm looking forward to rewatching it. I think I might like it more. Anyway, let's really get into this review. So what I did not like, for me, the pacing of this movie, very brisk, and it took me some getting used to. I had to find my footing with it, which sometimes happens with Nolan. Sometimes I'm able to... The only time I haven't been able to find my footing with one of his movies is Tenet. Both times I've watched that movie, I didn't really dig it very much. Luckily, I was able to find my footing with this one and ended up liking it quite a bit. And also the editing is a lot more quicker than I anticipated, a lot more cuts and stuff, because usually with like a big grand epic like this, you kind of expect more like, I don't want to say reverence with the shot, because there's definitely a lot of reverence for the material here. Just, I'm used to, I don't know, longer shots, you know what I mean? More, but this is very modern in the way that it's edited. It's not something I expected. I thought maybe Nolan would switch it up a little bit, but I think that has a lot to do probably with how the IMAX film cameras, they can only shoot for about 3 minutes at a time. The editing's not bad. It just took me some time to get to adjust to the flow of it. And so because of both these things with the pacing and the editing, I feel like I wasn't as immersed as I would have been normally for about like the first 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes. I'm actually really interested to see how I feel about that on a rewatch. I could actually end up not feeling that way at all on a rewatch because I know exactly what to expect. The other thing that I did not like is that I wish we had more time to spend with certain sequences. I like the Odyssey quite a bit. I haven't read it in a while. There's a lot of things in the Odyssey that I dig quite a lot. I wanted like a lot of the big, like heavy sequences that Odysseus hits on his journey to be a little longer, but I also understand that they got to jam pack a lot of stuff into this one single movie, and this movie could be like 6 or 7 or 8 hours long. And while I would like that, I feel like other people would be like, you just released an 8-hour movie in the theater. Is there going to be intermission? What? So anyway, but I really wanted everything with like the Cyclops and Circe, the giants, the whirlpool, the sirens. I wanted all that to be extended. Although I did like the way that Nolan handled the siren sequence in this film. I thought it was actually pretty cool. Very poignant, and actually really made me realize that he understands the material. It just made me real. It made me that scene in particular really proved to me that he was the right guy for this material. But Even though all these moments are really great moments in the film, they just felt a little fleeting. You know what I mean? Which is good, I guess. I guess it's a good thing that I am wishing that like things were longer. But like for example, like I think the Cyclops sequence, like for the most part, had plenty to it. You know what I mean? But like with the giants, which they've had in the trailers where they come out of the mist and stuff in the forest, that sequence goes by a little bit too quickly for my liking. Mainly because I was like, dude, this shit is cool. I like that quite a bit. Also, the stuff with Cersei, I think, went a little bit too fast for me, especially because I thought Samantha Morton was so good in the role. But I mean, other than that, you know, that's pretty much all I didn't like. I liked pretty much everything else. This is just a huge, grand, epic filmmaking, which is done in a way that we hardly get to see these days. It's funny because I at least as for, I don't want to spoil anything. You guys don't know what I've rated Disclosure Day yet because I didn't do a full review for it. But I gave Disclosure Day a higher rating than this, and I also gave The Invite that I recently saw a higher rating than this as well. On Letterboxd anyway. These are my personal. I really don't think ratings for movies matter too much. Really, like what I'm doing right now. That's the meat of this is the meat. You know what I mean? The ratings are just appetizers. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, that's like a. But anyway, this is just they don't really make stuff like this. You know what I mean? I don't know if they've ever made stuff like this because Nolan has his own particular style and brand of how he does things. But like everything's just so well done in camera. You know what I mean? And there is CGI in this movie. He has CGI in all of his movies pretty much. It's just more like very hidden CGI, and he tries to get as much camera as possible, which I really, really respect. But this is just I don't know, this legit reminded me of some like Harryhausen, which is good. So anyway, but everyone who's working on this film, it became pretty apparent within like I don't know the first 10 minutes that everybody from who's in front of camera, behind the camera, doesn't really matter. Everybody is just locked in and made sure that they put their best foot forward. I mean, this is probably everybody's career best work. Funny enough, maybe not like on the acting side, but and that's not to say that the performances are bad or anything. It's just that like I've seen a lot of movies. I wouldn't say necessarily that this is Robert Pattinson's best performance of all time, but it's you know it's one of them. I mean, he keeps adding to his repertoire as an actor. But anyway, the cinematography here, which is done by Hoyt van Hoytema, it's gorgeous, absolutely gobsmacking. I was like, Jesus is great. And it completely immerses you into this world that Nolan has created for this story. It felt real. It felt like I could just like walk into the screen and I'm like, hey, what's up, John Leguizamo? Nice hanging out with you today. How you doing? He'd have been like, who are you? I can't see anything. But anyway, also, I want to go back to the pacing and the editing because even though it took me some time to get used to it, the thing about Nolan's film and with this film is the thing about Nolan's films and with this film is that there's a rhythm to it. Nolan's films usually do have rhythms to them. Flowing directly into that rhythm's veins is this score by Ludwig Göransson. Sorry, I wanted to throw in Hoyt van Hoyt because I wanted to blend their names together. But this score by Ludwig Göransson comes in and it just like flows directly into the veins of this movie, and it elevates the entire film, and it helps each scene flow into the next. Which was pretty impressive, especially considering like this is not told in a linear fashion. No matter if it's just two people having an intimate conversation or if it's a bombastic action sequences, Göransson, he manages to hit the perfect note every time. And I wouldn't be surprised if he just ends up winning, you know, Best Original Score Oscar again next year. I don't know if he won this year or not. I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure he did, and he'll probably just end up winning it again. The guy is a master. And this is again like just phenomenal work from him. The way the film is structured, I mentioned that a second ago, but even though like the way it's the nonlinear structure, it took me some getting used to, just like it did with the pacing and the editing. It still kept me engaged the entire 3 hours. I know this is a little under 3 hours, but I'm just saying 3 hours. And it made me like it's structured in a way that it made me uncertain of what was going to happen in a story that I'm very familiar with. Like I kept going like, oh, what's gonna happen next? You know what I mean? I'm like, what are they gonna hit next? And I like that quite a bit. I'm always happy when a filmmaker can come in and just really, really surprise me like that, especially with a story that I'm very familiar with. Like I just said, I've read the Odyssey 3 times. I read it in high school. Then I read it again in college, and I read it not too long ago, but like, I don't know, it was like 2019, 2018, 2019. Anyway, I read the Iliad and the Odyssey back to back. Had a good time doing that. But anyway, I'm pretty familiar with this story and this world. Like it quite a bit, and I still was going like, oh, what's he gonna do next? Is he gonna add anything? Is he gonna take anything out? Is he gonna do this? What's he gonna do next? I'm excited. So that was pretty cool. And then also, this movie wouldn't be anything without the central performances that are here. I know there's been a lot of I don't want to say controversy, but a lot of discussion about the cast of this movie. I mean, there's definitely some controversies with the cast that I think are dumb and just rooted in bigotry. Um, uh, but you know, people have been like, "Oh, Matt Damon as Odysseus, really?" But Matt Damon's Odysseus is really good here. Shocker, one of the best actors, one of the best movie stars in the world, gives another good performance. Who would have guessed? But he's very, very good in this movie. And his Odysseus is one who's tired and world weary and very remorseful. He's one who like carries a lot of guilt for what he did during the Trojan War. And Matt Damon, he's just able to sell all of it. It's you know, it's a very good performance. And even his muscles look like they each tell a story. You know what I mean? He's so world weary that even his muscles look like you could like, you know, if each of his muscles could speak, they could each tell you an individual story about what they've been through. You know what I mean? It's pretty impressive. But the two big standouts in the cast for me personally, the two biggest ones anyway, it's definitely Anne Hathaway as Penelope and Robert Pattinson as Antinous. Anne Hathaway, she does a phenomenal job of just capturing a Penelope who's still clinging on to the last strands of hope for her husband returning home. And Robert Pattinson, he just continues to prove that he might just be the most versatile actor working right now. Like, I didn't see Batman or Edward Cullen at all in this performance. He just plays such a sniveling, cowardly little weasel of a guy. And he's just someone who's just so vile and wicked. You just can't help but hope he gets what's coming to him eventually. And he's just having a lot of fun with this character. You know, he did another movie with Tom Holland, actually. It's on Netflix. I cannot remember the title. I'll be sure to put up the poster somewhere on the screen here for you guys to look at. I'll look it up later. But he was also like kind of like a grody little troglodyte of a man in that movie as well. It's the one where he goes delusions and he's like a southern guy. I like that movie quite a bit. It's pretty fun. I don't know. Robert Pattinson, something he's just got it, dude. I'm very much looking forward to the Chris Hansen movie he's got this year coming out. Good actor. And everyone else is fantastic here too, and they're putting in some of the best work they've done in front of the camera. Speaking of which, I really liked John Leguizamo here. I don't necessarily know if I don't really necessarily think this is his best work of all time. It's definitely up there. But he kind of ended up being the heart of the movie for me. I don't want to like talk too much about his character. I actually would like to see John Leguizamo team up more with Christopher Nolan in the future. I think like, you know, they could do a lot of good work together. He's always been really good. I remember him playing the Violator in Spawn and scaring the crap out of me when I was a kid. So he's always somebody who I look forward to seeing in a movie. He's always great. But anyway, to conclude here, ultimately, this Odyssey adaptation by Nolan, it's a big old triumph, man. And it's a movie that film lovers are going to be enamored with for years to come. I genuinely think there are scenes in here that are so brilliant from a technical perspective that they're just going to live on in film history the same way that the skeleton sequence from Jason and the Argonauts does. It's one of those movies that I think is going to inspire future generations of impassioned moviegoers to make movies themselves. I could actually even feel the inspiration radiating into me as I was watching it. I was like, shit, I need to finish my scripts, man. I need to be making movies. What am I doing? And it also ends on, I think, one of the most poignant notes of Nolan's career. And Nolan manages to really shift the story of the Odyssey into one that applies to our modern day struggles. I really, really liked this one, and I think it's just a must-watch, specifically in the theater and on the biggest screen that you can possibly find, with the best sound system that you can possibly find. Definitely, if you're able to see this in IMAX, do it. If not, it's still definitely worth seeing in theaters. My only real gripes with this are, like I said, it's got that very brisk pace, where I felt like I kind of had to find my footing there a little bit at the start. And I am excited to see how I feel about it when I rewatch it. But for right now, I'm going to give the Odyssey 4 stars out of 5. And I'm already looking forward to when I get to see this again. I think this movie is super good. I liked it quite a bit. Might end up being on my best of the year list at the end of the year. Who would have guessed that Nolan would have made another good movie? What a surprise. What a shock. So, anyway, guys, that's my review for Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. Hope you enjoyed that. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, all that good YouTube stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. All right. That was good. That was fun. I like reviewing movies.